Alright, I hope I'm saying this correctly. Venato. Buongiorno Venato, chi lo dici?
Very well. I appreciate it. That's why I come.
You helped me out last week tremendously.
Did you help
I didn't
me?
know your name was Venato.
Oh, okay.
Welcome, Venato.
Thank you.
This is Venato, everyone.
So I've been composing a. Thank you.
Anything else you need? An Altoid?
I could use a cup of water.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. I've been composing a poem about, it's an epic poem. That's my favorite kind of poetry. And so it's kind of a long narrative. And last time I finished chapters 1, 2, and 3, or I recited chapters 1, 2, and 3. Tonight I hope to do chapters 4, 5, and 6. But they're kind of like cut up and spaced out. So I do one chapter and then I come back like 10 minutes later and do another one. Where we last left our hero, the chapter is called Perseus and Polydectes. And where we last left our hero, Perseus had a dream about the goddess Athena while visiting an island, and she told him about the monster Medusa and said he may one day have to slay her, but first he has to face a trial at home. At home, the wicked king, Polydectes, asked Perseus' mother, Dana, to marry him, and then took her as a slave when she refused. So we now pick up the story after Perseus' dream. When Perseus awoke, he went aboard the ship with speed, and coming home was shocked to learn his monarch's wicked deed. For Dictys told the lad of Dana's pitiable sentence, and daily went before the king to seek for his repentance. The heart of Perseus was then so filled with rage and grief, he wished to storm the royal halls at once for her relief. But Dictys said, "Be wary, boy, of any rash endeavor. I'll lose ye both if thou shalt act more violent than clever." "But Dictys," answered Perseus, "thou hast thyself explained, thy daily pleas for pity are most cruelly disdained. Is not thy brother's hardened heart thus proved by thee at length? The way of peace has failed thee, let us try the way of strength." "Indeed," said Dictys, "thou perchance hast strength enough to win, but not if thou shalt storm the gate to force thy way therein. The guards shall see thee coming, and despite thy greater might, the soldiers shall surround thee, and by numbers win the fight. But let us exercise our minds and form a strategy. There may be ways to win the day with less uncertainty." So Perseus and Dictys spent the day in making schemes that Dana's rescue might begin through more considered means. And then they slept and put their plan in motion when they woke. The lad put on the hat of Dictys and his woolen cloak. So Perseus approached the palace in the fisher's guise, and bent his head to use his hat as cover for his eyes. The soldiers thought the visitor was Dictys once again, for he arrived each day arrayed as Perseus was then. On his approach a guard said, "Halt! Hast thou thy written plea? And dost thou yet have hope thy king may set thy daughter free?" The boy made no reply, but gave a letter to the man, for if he spoke, his youthful voice might undermine the plan. The daily plea was brought by guards before the king once more, and Perseus was told to wait beside the throne room's door. When Polydectes read the plea, his wicked heart grew wide, for in it Dictys seemed at last to take his brother's side. He asked to visit Dana with the king to make her see that marrying her lord would end their grief and set her free. The king was keen to try while Dictys' resolve was clear, and bid a soldier follow him with Dictys in the rear. They soon approached a mill house in which Dana ground the flour, and Perseus now knew this was the time to show his power. On entering, he barred the door behind, his features grim, then grabbed the spear the soldier held and wrested it from him. He stood before the soldier and the king, the spear in hand, and cried, "Thou fiend and tyrant, be ye silent where ye stand! I warn ye both, if you shall move or speak, your life is done." Then Dana wept with grief to see such rage possess her son. And Perseus, distracted by the tears that Dana shed, beheld the marks of cruel blows upon her hands and head. His hatred overflowing when he thus beheld his mother, he cried, "Dost thou thus treat, O king, the daughter of thy brother? If thou art such a servant of the gods, then thou shalt die!" But as he moved to slay the villain, Dana raised a cry. "O Perseus," she shrieked, "we two are strangers in this land. Shall they not kill us if their king is slaughtered by thy hand?" Then Perseus considered, and was softened by her plea. "I ask thee, Polydectes," said the lad, "what shall it be? If thou shalt not release us, thou shalt be destroyed by me. Believest thou thy people shall avenge thy cruelty? Now Polydectes trembled all this time in greatest fear, disarmed and at the mercy of the bearer of the spear. He stammered out, I see at last that thou art in the right. If thou shalt spare my life, I'll hold thee blameless in my sight. Then Perseus and Dana freely exited the palace, for Polydectes feared to show them any further malice. And Perseus took Dana to a temple of the gods, that she might be secure from him with whom they were at odds. And while her son and Dictys daily visited the shrine, the king thought how to gain her less by force than by his mind. For he foresaw the influence of Perseus would grow. The peasants loved the lad and knew the king to be his foe. The temple's priests were friends of Dana and her boy as well. Each day that Perseus was near, the royal power fell. So Polydectes plotted how to make the lad depart. He first pretended Dana was no longer on his heart. A year went by till all the people thought the two at peace. Then Polydectes, seeing this, proclaimed a royal feast. The wealthy of the island were invited to his hall to bring their sons and grandsons and to do homage one and all. The day appointed for the feast arrived, and every guest, with tokens of their fealty, wished their monarch all the best. The richest gave such gifts as horses, robes, a ring, a sword, and younger men brought wine or mutton as they could afford. Now Perseus brought nothing, for he still disdained the king, but he began to blush when he saw others entering. It ill became the lad to show his heart embittered still, and all the friends of Polydectes mocked his stubborn will. The boy is proud, they laughed, and yet his father none can name. And Polydectes grinned on seeing Perseus in shame. He made him stand before them all, and asked him scornfully, Dost thou thus treat thy monarch, boy? What gift hast thou for me? The lad replied, A present, what? These trifles that they bring? I swear I'll set a far more noble gift before the king. The boy thus boasted rashly, and the monarch heard his vow. Hear ye, he cried, I call the gods as witness of thee now. What present shalt thou bring me that's as fair as thou hast said? He called to mind his wondrous dream, and said, Medusa's head. Then every one at table laughed, the king the loudest one. But Perseus was grim, and knew not yet what he had done. Thou swearest then, the king replied, to strike Medusa dead. Begone, and do not dare return without the Gorgon's head. And then it dawned on Perseus, the feast was all a snare. His vanity was smitten to provoke him so to swear. Enraged, he ground his teeth, but pride resolved him to his vow. He left the hall in silence. He must try, but knew not how. Thank you. The next chapter is called Perseus on the Cliffs, but I'll do it a little bit later in the night, in the evening. Thank you.
If people see me slacking with the microphone, just push and pull. Push, pull. Renato, is that originally yours?
Wow.
All right. So I'm going to break my first rule, if it's okay, for a few minutes. I feel like